Hello. Let's see. How do I turn off the music? Test. I think the audio should work, right? But I can't say for sure. Just let me check that on the stream. Sorry if there's going to be an echo right now. Oh no, it should work. I'll mute myself. Audio seems to be working great. So, welcome to the stream. My name is Alexander. During the day, I'm a web developer. At night, I'm an open source developer, building tools to help people learn in their learning journeys. And today, we're actually going to be doing a learning stream. So we'll be learning C#. This is a language that's been on my list for a while, but I actually never got around to spending time on it. So I see like there's 0 viewers, so I'm assuming nobody's around. If you're there, write in the chat. I remember you said you would only drop by, so, or if you're watching this later in the VOD, hello. I tried sending a DM to Marcel to invite him, because he's one of the few people I know that actually is a C# user. Wait, looks like I'm getting, I just got a bug report from a user. I'm going to try to reproduce a bug. Let me see. I will just do that quickly in the background. This was not what we were supposed to do, but let me just double check that since somebody sent me an email. They're claiming to have an error where they're uploading, which I'll try to check out. So yeah, today I think it's just going to be me. Okay, so I'm exporting in the background. So I made like a plan for today. It's like a 3-hour stream. We'll first learn about C#, and then we'll check out .NET, and then after .NET we'll check out something Mobile sent me, and that's called Dapper. So, but before we do that, I'm just gonna do a quick upload here to Unky.net and see that nothing broke, because I actually did a deployment the last time. After making some changes. So let me share my screen. Hopefully the screen is visible now. So there's a super cool website called Exercism, where you can basically do exercises for any programming language. They have, okay, not any, but many. They have many languages supported, and they have some really like cool new languages you might never have heard of, Unison, for example. And then you also have the usual suspects like Java, C++, and so on, and also some. I don't know if JQ could be considered a DSL, but like a language for working with JSON. Yeah. So you can find a lot of cool stuff. So we'll be using that today. And let's see. Yeah, so this is the landing page for the C# language. And you can see there are like 164 exercises. And then since this is like a language where they have invested a lot, it seems, there's a learning path. So there's a learning tab here with concepts. We'll look into that later, and then practice. So let's wait on joining. So there is a video here. We'll check that one out too. So what is C#? So C# is a multi-paradigm statically typed programming language with object-oriented, declarative, functional, generic, lazy, integrated querying features and type inference. Wow, what a mouthful. It's statically typed. Like, we don't need to go into all of this, the details. Nothing here seems unfamiliar. Integrated querying, that's new for me. What does that mean? Me instead of feature. Interesting. This we have to check out. I clicked one of the tabs. Let's look closer at this. So this seems to be a proprietary feature, I think. Language integrated query. Link is the name. LinQ, I guess. LinQ is the name for a set of technologies based on the integration of query capabilities directly into the C# language. Traditionally, queries against data are expressed as simple strings without type checking at compile time or IntelliSense support. Furthermore, you have to learn a different query language for each type of data source: SQL database, XML, various web servers, and so on. With LinQ, a query is a first-class language construct, just like classes. Okay, what does that mean? Let's look into some code. So you have some kind of data. Oh, interesting. This is really cool, actually. I've never seen this before supported in language. It looks very like SQL, but with support in the language itself. Very, very cool. I wonder what else you can do with it. Here we're just making a basic select, but can it be used to create a new structure? So right now we just have primitive values, right? Just in integers, it looks like. So what if it was an object? Could you select an attribute, something in the object? This looks very nice, actually. Let's bookmark this page for future reading. So that's what they meant. That's very interesting. And .NET, we'll look at that later. NuGet, okay, so that seems like something similar to NPM for us. Okay, we'll check out .NET Core. Mono, I think Mono is the open source version of, it's not, I don't know who works on it currently, but it was written by the GNOME author. That's what I've heard. So it's a re-implementation, but maybe it's part of that. It sounds like it's separate, but I'm not sure. Maybe it was separate, maybe it's still separate. This is interesting, performance-wise. Okay, so you can see there are a bunch of exercises. These are usually the same across the languages. I don't think I've seen any language, like any exercise that's language specific. So, yeah. So here we have a repetition of the key features and then the concept. So let's just go through them. So you can see there's a lot. I don't think we'll get through all of this. I'll try to set a timer here so we don't spend too much time on this stuff. But let me set the timer for 45 minutes. I keep switching to the chat. Let's see. Yeah, still 0 viewers. Okay, so yeah, that's the landing page. Let's actually join the track. Introduce yourself to the C# world by completing Hello World. Oh, am I sharing the wrong tab? I just realized I was still sharing the wrong tab. I'm still learning how to use StreamYard. It's been a while since I used to stream regularly, so. Let's start here. So this is very simple, right? This really does look like Java. You have public static class hello world. And then, okay, I'm familiar with exorcism, but if you're not, it's basically you have the code here on the left-hand side. You have instructions on what you're supposed to do. This is very simple. It's hello world. And then you have a test, which is asserting. So XUnit seems to be the testing library they use, I guess. So you have a class for the test, and then you have some kind of bracket notation. I'm not familiar with this. Maybe this is an annotation thing. Fact. Let's search for XUnit just to look into that. Okay, this seems to be something that's part of .NET. XUnit is a free open source community-focused unit testing tool for the .NET framework, written by the original inventor of NUnit. XUnit is the latest technology for unit testing. Okay, cool. Then we learned something new. I had no idea. So XUnit is what they use for .NET, I guess. There probably are alternatives, but this is what's in the documentation. So let's run this. It's going to fail because we haven't really implemented anything. And then we can see the output, right? It's expecting hello world, and we're giving goodbye Mars. So let's fix that. I wish this was a hotkey. I'm trying to click command enter, but or command return, nothing happens. I'll run the test. Should pass. Submit. And let's before we we'll mark this as completed after it's finished processing. So it looks like this might be one of the languages on the platform that are actually slower to run, because I suspect there's a compile step maybe. I'm just gonna let me just do one thing in the background. I want to download no, there's nothing there. It's very slow. Why is it? Okay, so maybe it didn't refresh. So it finished. So after you finish an exercise, it's not marked as completed. You might want to do changes before you mark it as completed. So here is the journey map. Learn and master concepts achieved fluency in C#. So let's start with the basics, and then we'll watch the brief introduction. Everything has a type at compile time. And assigning a value to a name is referred to as defining. Yeah, this is all basic stuff, right? You have OOP. We don't need to repeat that. We have the methods. Okay, so is this a static function? What is this? Oh, this is not implement. That's what we're going to implement. So let's do that. Implement this. So we have a class lasagna. Okay. Yeah, so this, I actually solved this several times before. We'll run the test. I think we're going to get compile errors. Do I have Visual Studio? I think I have Visual Studio installed. It would be nice to try out the regular Microsoft development environment, because right now we're just using it here. We could do it here. Should we do it here? Okay, let's do it here. We'll step through the examples here. Okay, let's start here at the top. So this expected minutes in oven, public, was it int something? Let's see, public int, yeah. So I don't think this takes any input. It just returns integer. So we can remove that. I think we should now get less errors, or a different kind of error, not 1040, but some other. So it changed to 17, so it's complaining about this probably. Let's look at the next one. Calculate the remaining oven time. So this looks like it's taking the elapsed time and then subtracting it from there. Okay. So nice auto completion. So I'm not actually sure. Can we write this? Do we have to write this? Like return this minus elapsed time, which is an integer, int elapsed time. Does this work? It looks like it works, because now the error is from some other line. So let's just take this whole thing, delete this comment. I'm not sure preparation time in minutes. What is that? Calculate the remaining oven time. That's, yeah, we've done that. Calculate the preparation time. So you're getting some input and then you're multiplying that. Okay. This is the layers. Layers times preparation time. That's, I guess, 2. Because it's there, yeah, you take 2 minutes per layer. Okay, good. Now we have the elapsed time. Then we're done with this one, I think. So what is the elapsed time? Define, blah, blah, blah. So you have 2 inputs. What is that? The first parameter is the number of layers. So that's fine. We'll keep that, layers. And the second parameter is the number of minutes in cooked time. Okay, so we have the number of layers, so we can do why doesn't the auto completion work? This is the prep time. So in this case, it's going to be 3 times 2. 6 plus cook time. And then, okay, so we need to subtract this from the remaining time, I guess. No, we'll just call it then. There, maybe this works, I'm not sure. Okay, it didn't quite work. Does anyone in the chat know why it didn't work? Any C# experts? Or I guess this is not a C# thing. This has to be an arithmetic thing. I'm probably doing an order of operation issue. Let's break it down. Okay. I wish I could see the test here. Why can't I see the test? Because the reason why I want to see the test is to do... Oh, sorry, I can see it here, right? It's just line break there. Okay, so layers equals 1, and then we have the cooked time equals 30. So what we're doing here is 2 plus 30, 32. Okay, and then what else? We reach the 32, and then we subtract 40, 32, and then end up with 8. But that's not what we want. Let's remove this and then just return this. Okay, no, it works. Then it's me who did not understand the assignment. Okay, good. Now we got everything green. Checking for automated feedback. Our systems are inspecting your code to find both automated feedback and feedback given by mentors on similar situations. Sorry, this task is taking longer than expected. What is this? Something with the C# analyzer? As the expected minutes in oven method only has a single statement, consider converting the expression bodied. What is that? Expression bodied. Is that like an anonymous function, like a one-liner? This kind of reminds me of the arrow syntax in JavaScript. Huh. I have to see more. Read-only properties. Okay, this is how you do it. Okay, let's try that. So if we follow the example we looked at, I'll just paste that in, just so we have a reference. So we should be able to do this, I guess. Right? I think that works, so let's double check that. That should work. Let's run that and see what happens. Does it work? Yeah, okay, it works. Then we'll rewrite all of them. I like having a reverse Christmas tree with the functions here. Let's move this one too. This is probably much easier to do with Visual Studio, not the Visual Studio Code, but just the Visual Studio. Cool, it's still working. We'll submit that. What? No immediate feedback. Oh, okay, so it looks good. Let's explore some community solutions. So this is one of the really cool features of Exercism. You can see what has somebody else done. Here you can see the person kept the comments in. Let's. Oh, this one looks really clean. Or I mean, it's very compact, I guess. Not clean. That's the wrong word. Let's look at the shortest ones. It doesn't get much shorter than the, what did they call it? The expression bodied members, I guess. Yeah, they all look the same, really. Let's see if we can find a new one. This one was made 20 hours ago. Cool. Yeah, so that's basically Exercism. We've solved the hello world and this lasagna. We've solved it. Let's mark it. Finish with the exercise. Yeah. Bam. And then we're going to unlock more, I guess. Let's actually return to the exercise. Just eyeball it. Cool. I really like this visualization. You can basically see everything the language supports, or at least the stuff they've documented. And then you can pick a challenge when you're ready. And what else here? Okay, I think what we're gonna do now, let's actually watch this video. Oops, it's playing. So let me mute the audio. Where is the audio coming from? Pause. Okay, I'm pausing the audio. Hopefully, like if it's loud, somebody in the chat, please let me know.
Hey everybody, welcome to a brief introduction to C#. In this video, I'll be going over the history of the C# language. We'll then look at the features that make C# a great language.
Hopefully the audio
and
works.
Then we'll take a look at the standout features.
I'll share the
things
link
that really
in the chat
make
as well.
C# shine. We'll then do a code demo where I'll be solving one of the exercises of the C# track and show off some nice C# features in the process, followed by a listing of the resources that you can use to learn C#. I'm really excited about this video, so let's get started. C# was designed and developed by Anders Helsbeck at Microsoft.
Wow. This video is 41 minutes.
It was released in the year 2000 as part of the .NET platform, which included the C# language, the .NET runtime, which is a virtual machine, and the .NET framework, which is a standard library. These all have an official specification, and they became an ECMAScript standard in 2002 and an ISO standard in 2003. The compiler, the runtime, and the standard library were initially all closed source, but they were open source in 2014. When C# was released, there were inevitably many comparisons to Java, which had released 5 years prior, and as they looked quite similar. C# was not a direct carbon copy of Java, though. For example, C# didn't have checked exceptions, C# did have value types, and there were some neat syntactic sugary things in C# that Java didn't have, like properties and events. C# as a language is strong and statically typed. It's multi-paradigm, so you can program in different ways, although it's primarily an object-oriented language. You can do imperative programming. You can even do a bit of declarative programming, and we'll come back to that later on. And I would argue that C# has become more and more functional too. So you can definitely do functional programming in C#, especially with the later versions of C#. C# compiles to bytecode, where it compiles to an intermediate format, and that is interpreted by the .NET Runtime's virtual machine. That said, ever since .NET 7, which released in 2022, there is...
I'm just gonna get some hot water. Be right back. Okay, I'm back. Let's see. Hopefully the audio still works.
Native compilation support being added. So you wouldn't compile to bytecode, but you would compile directly to machine code. And this is an ongoing process, but this is improved in each new version of .NET. So where is C# being used in the real world? Well, basically all over the world. It is being used for building websites. It's being used in embedded systems. It's being used to build apps via Xamarin. And Unity allows you to build games in C#. And basically, C# is a language that is all over the place and is being used in many, many real-world applications.
That's amazing, yeah.
Let's go into the reasons why C# is a great language. First of all, it's tooling, which is absolutely fantastic. When C# was released, it was still Windows only, and the editor that you use was Windows Only 2, which was Visual Studio. That didn't mean that it was a bad editor. Far from it. Visual Studio was actually a fantastic editor. And it was one of the reasons why people chose to write C# in, actually, because it was such a fantastic way to write code in. You get everything that you want from an editor with. You have, I don't know, a gazillion different refactorings, code analysis. It's all there. Visual Studio is a fantastic editor for code, and it was the primary way in which you wrote C# back in the days. It's still a valid way to do it right now. And I think most people will still use Visual Studio, but with .NET and C# becoming cross-platform, other IDEs have also entered the market, like JetBrains Rider, which is fully cross-platform, and Visual Studio Code, which is also cross-platform. I particularly like JetBrains Rider too, but Visual Studio is excellent too, and even if you want to use Visual Studio Code, you can do that well. Just in general, the tooling around C# is very, very good. A second reason why C# is a great language is that it's expressive, which means that you can do a lot with relatively little C# code. And I'd like to especially mention LINQ here, which stands for Language Integrated Query. And LINQ is sort of like a mini language built into the C# language, and it's especially targeted to working with
what they
data.
Consider it.
It's almost SQL-like, where you have some data, you want to apply some transformations, maybe you want to do some grouping, some filtering, etc. And LINQ has got you covered. The way that LINQ is designed makes it quite a functional and declarative way to do these things, which means that you don't have to bother with writing the loops, etc. So it's quite a high-level construct to use, and it's absolutely lovely. If you've ever worked with LINQ, you'll immediately fall in love. A third reason why C# is a great language is that it runs almost everywhere. So I mentioned before that you have Xamarin to run apps, so it could run on your phone or your tablet, but you can also use Unity to write games, and those games run everywhere too. But C#, having been open source, means that it can run in a ton of places too. So you can use C# to run on embedded systems. Originally, though, it ran only on Windows, and that was why it spawned Mono, which was a free and open source implementation of the C# compiler and runtime, which was cross-platform. So if you worked with C# back in the days and you didn't like the fact that it was Windows only, you did have the option of going to Mono, but it wasn't developed by Microsoft themselves. That changed in 2015. When .NET Core was introduced, which was fully open source and cross-platform, and nowadays .NET Core and .NET have merged into just .NET. So the thing you have to remember, .NET runs almost everywhere, and it's cross-platform and open source. Closely related to this is that the fact that C# is a true general-purpose language. So you can use it for almost any workload you can imagine. So I mentioned games, I mentioned apps, but also a ton of websites run on C#, embedded systems, you name it. It's a true general-purpose language, and even if you want to do some high-performance computing, C# can help you out with that too.
Sounds very powerful.
Then another great feature is that the C# has the .NET Compiler platform, which is often referred to as Roslyn. So originally, the C# compiler was written in C++, but it was later written in C#, and this was part of Roslyn. So the compiler is free and open source, and it's actually a fantastic way to work with C# code. So if you want to parse, transform, or generate C# code, Roslyn has everything that you need. And in fact, we use this extensively throughout the C# Dragon ecosystem. For example, in the test runner, the analyzer, and the representative. But if you ever want to analyze C# code, you want to maybe you want to do some cross.
What he's saying right now is actually really cool, because I'm going to show it to you. So if we head on over here to GitHub, the platform we were using earlier, it's on GitHub. Every single line of code that's running, of course, except the bare metal hardware stuff it's running on. I think that's proprietary, but everything else is open source. It's public. So we were on the C# track, right? I think there, yeah. So you can see there's, I think I saw that right now, wasn't it? C# something. Oops. So there's C# analyzer, C# presenter, C#, the exercises itself, and what he was referring to was the test runner, right? So, and did he mention something called Rosin? What was that? Rosin? What's the name of the compiler? Yeah, I'm still not familiar with the words, but it's running something, right? This is something we can deep dive into later. I'm curious, well, what was the name he just mentioned? Is there a transcript here? No. Let's go just a little bit back. Roslin. Roslin. Okay. Let's find that. Roslin. Like this. Okay, that didn't work. Let's search in this GitHub organization. Roslin. What? I have to look this up. I'm too curious. Oh, okay. So it's an Y. This is the Google YouTube transcription that doesn't work. If we search for with an Y, we should find it. Here it says it. It uses Roslin to parse the submission source code. Interesting. So this is the compiler then. Interesting. So can we see how it's using it? Click, right, let's preview. I want to open some of the links here. It's too interesting. This one, we'll look at that one later, and then just search for Roslin in here. Okay, so it's no, it has to be the binary here. Run.sh. Okay, here it is. Interesting. Yeah, let's get back to the video.
Transform or generate C# code. Roslin has everything that you need. And in fact,
hey, Marcel,
extensively throughout the C# Dragon X system. For example, in the test runner, the analyzer.
Thanks for showing the name.
And if you ever want to analyze C# code, you want to maybe want to do some cross projects tweaks that you have, like a custom refactoring, you can all do that very, very easily with Roslin. It's a fantastic tooling to work with. Another great feature of C# is its documentation, which has always been very extensive, detailed, and well written, and that's always a great help when you start out with the language.
Welcome to the stream, Marcel. How are you?
It can still be incredibly helpful. So the documentation is of a very high level. And then finally, there is a very large community of C# users. It's one of the most used languages out there. So you have many resources available, including blogs, videos, learning platforms, forums, you name it. So there is something there for everybody. Let's look at C#'s standout features. First of all, It has great performance, especially for a managed language. Both the C# language and the .NET Runtime have tons of features to help you write the most performant code that you can. For example, C# has a span of T type.
I'm good.
Almost directly accessing memory, but in a memory safe way. You can allocate things directly on the stack.
I'm actually moving on Friday, and I forgot that. So my sister and a friend was supposed to help me out on Friday, but I'm still trying to figure out some logistics. How am I going to move? I have time to move, but I'm a little bit stressed out about that. But hopefully I'll get that figured out. But let me know if you want to join voice chat. We're going to watch this, and then the plan is to... how far am I moving? I guess I'm moving maybe, like half hour away with car. It's not far away, but I have a table, I have a bed, and then you see that blue thing in the background, like my shelf thing. I need to move. Those things are heavy, so I could use the bus, but it would be too much work, I guess. I need a driver. It would be nice to have a driver. I don't want to buy a new bed. I want to use the current one. So I wish I had a driver. I wish I had the driver license, which I was supposed to get, but yeah, didn't finish. But we're gonna code some more, but let's watch this first, I guess.
Which is also can be great for performance, and you get access to all sorts of CPU intrinsics. For example, AVX instructions to run instructions on a bulk of data in parallel. So you get access to all of those. The CLR, so the runtime, is also very mature. So it has been around for a long time. It's very stable, but it's also highly performant. And there are continuous tweaks that are being made to both the runtime and the language to make it a very performant language.
So are you on mobile?
This has worked very well for C#. You can see for yourself if you look up some of the benchmarks. For example, the TechEmpower benchmark focuses on a web-based viewpoint.
It really is hard to talk with audio and the video playing. So let's see. Maybe we can. Is it too fast if we watch this in 2x? Let me try it out, and then let's hear what you guys think.
And C# is consistently near the top of the list. It's great, especially for a managed language. A second standard feature is a huge ecosystem. So C# is a very big language. It has tons of users, tons of companies using it, and you also get a massive number of libraries that are available via NuGet. So you get libraries for almost anything that you can imagine. And like C#, they've been around for a long time, so you get stable, well-featured. So all the goodness that you expect from a very big and large ecosystem. Then a third standard feature is that C# is a very modern and evolving language. The C# that is around right now is very different from the original first version. So there have been, at this moment, 12 different iterations of C#, and the language has evolved in all of those. So a lot of the things that were added later on, like Ling was added in C# I think 4, and then you get async await, you get
I'll use the chat,
as I mentioned before, for memory characteristics, nullable reference types, which is C# way of trying to fix the billion-dollar mistake of having null in your language. But in general, C# has been adding a lot of stuff and tries to tweak things, and while still feeling like C#. So an example of this is pattern matching, which has been added into the language, but it's been added in a way that fits the C# language, so it doesn't feel weird. Not only the language is regularly updated, the runtime too. So I mentioned before that there's a thing called .NET AOT, which is compiling ahead of time directly to machine code, and this is being continuously improved upon too. So not only the language is modern and evolving, the runtime is too. So they go together well. And the fourth and final standard feature is that something that I personally really value is that there are less alternatives when you use C#. So what do I mean by that? Well, if you start up with a new project, there are usually a lot of choices to be made. Do I use framework X or Y? Do I use editor A or B? You name it. But with C#, you actually usually have less options. And you can see this as a bad thing, but you can also see it as a fantastic thing. So there is no analysis paralysis where you have to, do research for months to figure out what would be the best framework to write this in. You can just use the one that Microsoft provides. And this can be really helpful because most of the people in the ecosystem are doing this. So the documentation will be focused to that. Resources that you can find are all using the same frameworks. So I think this is personally a great feature of the C# ecosystem. There are, of course, options, but in many cases, what gets packaged and what you use out of the box, like, ASP.NET being the web framework that's bundled when you install .NET on your machine, is just a great framework. So you don't need to look at other frameworks if you don't want to. You can just do what's already in the package. And I personally think it's great, but you can also argue otherwise. But it has definitely helped C# become very valued in company situations because if you just use the Microsoft-supported software, you get support, and you get a lot of people from other places that will have done the exact same thing. So it's easier to hire new people. So it might be somewhat contentious, but I think this is a great feature of the C# language and .NET ecosystem. It's time to do some C# coding. What I'll be doing is to build a solution to the RNA transcription exercise of the C# track on Exosystem. This exercise is about getting a DNA strand and returning its RNA complement. And what does that actually mean? Well, so you get some rules. So a DNA strand has a C, a G, a T, and an A. And then the RNA strand has A, C, G, and U. And there are rules that if you encounter a G in the DNA, it becomes a C in the RNA. The C becomes a G, T, and A, and A in the U. So that's basically it. So we are doing a mapping of all the characters in the DNA string to the RNA complements. So that's what we have. The editor that I'm using is JetBrains Writer, which is the cross-platform JetBrains IDE specifically designed for C#. And we have a set of tests here. So empty string becomes empty string, C becomes G, etc., etc. So let's just run them to see that we're not actually cheating and already have a working solution. And what we start out with is this file. So this is the stub file. It consists of a class marked as static, which means that you can create an instantiation of this, but we don't need to. And then there is a single method called toRNA that has a single parameter, it's a type string, and it's called DNA. So this is our DNA string, and we have to return another string. And that's what we need to implement. So the stub just throws an exception that we haven't yet implemented this, but let's change that and let's start implementing our solution. So in our implementation, we need to transform the individual characters in the string. And let's start with a very basic way of doing that, and that is a for loop. And that will be familiar to anybody that has worked in a C-like language. So we do for int I equals 0, and then I is less than. And it's important to know that C# is an object-oriented language. So the DNA parameter is an object, and objects have methods on them. So we can do DNA dot, and that was a way of calling a method. And C# has something that's slightly different than a method. It's called properties. And properties are basically getters without arguments. So we have a length here, so the top one, and length is a property. We don't pass any arguments, so you don't see the regular thing where you do the parentheses afterwards. You just do DNA dot length, and that will return a value. So this is called a property. So we can now iterate over all the characters, and we can access them by doing DNA and then square brackets I. So this is the character at position I. So what do we need to do? We need to compare it. So and we need to store it. So let's create a variable string RNA, start out with an empty string, and in the end we're going to return it. And then we need to do the translation. So let me just copy paste this in here so that I don't get anything mixed up. So if the ith character in the DNA string equals a G, then RNA is RNA plus a C. So then we're going to do a bit of copy pasting. We're going to do a C to a G, and a C to an A, and an A to a U. Remove this one because it's of course not valid C#. So a very simple solution, just using a for loop. We see that we're using a C# feature called properties here. So I get our only method without any parentheses, then just regular if else, reassigning the variable with the C added. So let's see if this passes any of our tests. So it passes the test. So this is all great. While this technically works, we can do a bit of refactoring here. So for one, you can see that the editor grays out this RNA, and it suggests that we can convert this into a compound statement. So a compound statement is a thing where you can basically combine two different statements, or a statement and an expression. So we have RNA plus C, which is one part, and then we assign it to RNA again. What we can do, because the left part is the same here, we can do plus is, plus equals, do the same thing here, and that's actually the exact same thing. So we could also use our IDE to compound assignment, and then we get a little bit of help. So that's one thing. Another thing that we could do, and this is personal preference, is we can omit the curly braces. They're not required, so we can get rid of them. Whether or not you like that is personal preference, but we can. And then the final thing is that this is grayed out, and it says that this using the system statement is not used. And it used to be used because we had the initial stub with the throw new not implemented exception, which is part of the system namespace. But forget about that. For now, just remember we can remove this. Then we get a bit more nicer code, and let's just run our test again. And our test still passed, so that's great. We now have a refactored version that's slightly better, but this for loop is somewhat error prone. It's very easy to make a mistake. For example, do I less than or equal, and then there will be issues. So there is a better way to iterate over a string, and that's via a for each statement. So instead of having this, we could do for each, and then we'll do, we don't do int because we're iterating over the things that are contained in a string, and those things aren't integers, they are characters. So we're going to say char, and we'll call it nucleotide, because I think that's the right way, in DNA. And this will basically mean that anywhere where we did this subscript bit, we can replace this with the value nucleotide. And let's just briefly pause here. For each, what it will do is, under the hood, it will do a for loop for us.
We know what for each does,
so
man.
you can see here that we don't do anything with edge cases, so we don't have to get the length correct because that's built into it. And this doesn't only work for strings, it works for anything that's what in C# terminology is called an enumerable, so it can be enumerated. And there are collections, of course, can be enumerated, but you can also write things yourselves. But for now, just know that you can use the for each statement to iterate over the characters in a string. So let's run this again. And this is already much better, and it still passes all the tests. So as our next refactoring, we're going to extract a bit of functionality. So this bit is maybe suitable to a separate method. So let's create. I think that makes sense. So we're going to do private static, and we'll return in a character. And we're going to say to complement. So it's the complement of nucleotide. We pass in a character. So this is the nucleotide, and then we'll write out, copy this to here. And instead of doing the plus is, we'll just do return. We'll do another return here. We'll do another return here. And then back here we can do RNA plus is to complement, and then we'll do nucleotide. So let's see, does this work? Well, it doesn't, because we haven't handled all the cases. So what do we do when it's an unknown nucleotide? Well, the best way to handle that would be to throw an exception. So we're going to throw an argument exception, and we can do a couple. There's an argument out of range that might be the best one, so it's very semantic. And the first argument is the parameter name. So this is just for getting the error message to be as helpful as possible. So now it all compiles. So, and we'll see if the tests are still passing.
This looks like Java.
This looks a bit nicer here now. We can also get rid of these curly braces. Once again, this is personal, but I sort of like that. It also says that we can get rid of these else's because, well, it's basically the same thing. So we can get rid of these. And there's a thing here that says use a name of expression. So this is the actual name of the nucleotide parameter. But if I were to change it to nucleotide 2, the editor is clever enough, and that's because it's the editor. But in principle, there could be a disconnect. So what you can instead do is use a name of expression, and this will automatically be updated too. And this is safer. So in general, it's recommended to use name of if you ever refer to the name of a parameter or a variable or whatever. So very cool. There is still more that we can do. So this if it looks a bit like a switch statement to me. So let's convert this to a switch statement. We'll not use the editor. We'll just write it ourselves. We'll do case G, return C, and then maybe we just do case, and we can copy paste this in here. Colon. So okay, switch statement will probably also be very familiar to people that haven't worked with C# with C-like languages. And we'll make this a default just to make it all happen in a single switch statement.
Nice.
Run it. Whether or not you prefer this, it's up to you. But there is a method to this, and that is that we can apply a second refactoring. Namely, this is a switch statement, and a statement is something that has a side effect. And the side effect in this case is that it does a return. But there is no return value of a switch. So I can't do, I don't know, A is the result of the switch. That's not what a statement can do, because a statement never returns a value, even though it has a return statement. But in later versions of C#, there's a thing that's called a switch expression, and expressions always return values. So instead of doing this switch, we can do return, and then we do nucleotide switch. So we're switching on the nucleotide value. I'm just going to copy this.
This is new. I've never seen that before.
And instead of doing the case, we're going to do, oh, that was very bad. We're going to do the equals greater than sign. And we have to replace these semicolons with commas. So remove the case.
This does not look like
arrow.
Java. This looks
nicer.
nicer.
The case, because an arrow. comma, and then there's a default one, which is an underscore. It matches anything. Remove that, make this terminate, and then we'll do indentation. And this is the same thing. So why would you use this instead of a switch statement? Well, I mean, for this can be returned. So this returns a value, whereas the statement didn't. So the benefit of this is that we can return the value, and this is more concise. So previously you had to have either the return or the break in every case statement, but in this case you can just put it on the same line. So this reads a lot better, and it should still all pass the test, and it does. So that's all good. And there's more that we can do. Still, one thing that we can do is to use the fact that the C# compiler supports type inference. And type inference is the process where instead of you specifying the type of a variable, you're saying, hey, compiler, you figure it out for me. So we have our variable RNA here, and it's a type string. But the compiler could be clever enough to figure that out by themselves, because this is a string, so it's an empty string, so this must be a type string. So what we can do is instead of typing out string, we can use var. And this is exactly the same thing under the hood. It's just that the compile time the compiler says, hey, this is var, so let me figure this out based on the value, which is an empty string, so the type must be string. And you can see if I hover over this, it will still show you that it's a string. And we can do the same thing with the for each loop. Instead of having this as a var, I can just do var. And it knows that when you iterate over a string, you get characters. So every individual item within this for each loop will be a character. Not everybody likes this. I personally really like this because I usually don't care about the types that much. But just know that you can do this. You can only do this for variables. You can't do this for methods or whatever, with slight exceptions. But this doesn't work with regular return types or parameters, whatever. You do have to specify them there. But for variables, you can use type inference. While this for each loop is nice, it's still, well, we have to write it for each ourselves. It's a very common pattern. Isn't there something that we can use that will do this for us? And there is. It's called LINQ. So language integrated query. And in order to use LINQ, we need to import the system.link namespace. And once we do that, we get access to all the functionality that LINQ gives us. So if we do DNA dot, and we'll see which methods there are, we still see the same things. But we also see select, which means map in the functional terminology. You have where, which is filter, and you have other things like group. There is a lot of stuff that LINQ gives you, but you do have to remember to import the system link namespace. For those of you that are familiar with other functional languages, the terminology is different in C#. The terminology is akin to SQL terminology. So in SQL, you have selects and wheres and froms, but in most functional languages, you would have maps and filters, etc. So do keep that in mind. So
this is also different.
What we're going to do is we're going to comment out this bit of code. That will be our old code for reference, and we'll start using the LINQ. So this bit of for each, what we could do is we're going to use the query format of LINQ, and I'll show you that there's a different one too. Where we're going to say from each nucleo, if I can spell it, nucleotide in DNA, then give me its complement. So this is the same thing. The only thing the compiler complains about is that we haven't assigned this. So we're going to say var complement, because why not? Then this is the same. So this is iterating over the characters in the nucleus in the string, and then returning its complement. So it's an enumerable of characters. We can't just directly return complements because it's an enumerable of characters, and there are different ways in which we can solve this. But let's do a very linky way. So we can say complements dot to array. So now we have an array of characters, and then that is something that we can pass to the string constructor, and then it all works. So it's slightly different. I'm not arguing that this is a better version, but it's a linkier version. It will apply some transformation. But for now, just remember that you can use this from in select bit, which is a very SQL-like way of writing code. It's very declarative. So we don't even see the type of the nucleotide here. The return is implicit here, but we get back an enumerable of characters, and to create it into, so to combine that into a string, we have to call the string constructor, and you can't just pass it the enumerable, the compiler will complain, so we have to convert it to an array. And to array is also something that LINQ gives you, so where you can convert any enumerable into an array, and this should still pass the test. Okay, good. I don't usually recommend people write it this way if they are used to other functional languages. So if you are already familiar with functional languages, you'll be saying, hey, wow, this is very verbose actually. So, but we can change this into something else, because this is the query syntax of LINQ, but there's also a method syntax in LINQ. And the method syntax is where you just call the method. I just showed that there's a select method. We don't have to use the from bit because that's implicit. So we're going to say for each nucleotide in the DNA string, then with the arrow, it's very similar to the arrow here. Then we return its complement, pass in the nucleotide again. So remove this bit. So, and this might be better readable here. So these two things are exactly the same thing, but this is the method syntax, and this is the query syntax. So I sort of like the method syntax better, and this still works. There are some refactoring still that we can do. So one of the things is, by the way, this is called a lambda, and a lambda is like a mini function. So we're defining a function here that takes a character and returns a new character. And the LINQ will do everything under the hood for us. So we don't need to say that we're iterating. We're just saying for every character, just do this. This pattern where you have a single parameter that you pass into a function is so common that there is a shorthand syntax. So what we actually can do is we can remove this, and that's exactly the same thing. So now we have quite short code. I might even go as far as just inlining this. So removing line. So this is now quite a concise way of doing this. So we're going to say transform all the characters by calling the toComplement function, which takes a var and returns a var, and then convert it to an array. We're going to get rid of this bit, and this should all still work, and it does. So this is now quite succinct. And there is one last thing that we can do to make this even more succinct, and that's the fact that we have a method with a single return statement. And if you do have that, you can optionally get rid of these curly braces. So instead of having the curly braces, we can do the arrow sign. So we're going to do arrow, then get rid of the return. So this is the same thing as we had before, but it's just written a bit differently. So we're going to say this function returns this value. And because there was only one return statement, we can do this. And we can even do this here because we only have one return statement. It's like 7 lines or 8 lines, but it's still the same thing. So if we do the arrow, get rid of the curly brace and the return bit, it's the same thing. So because both methods have just a single return value, single statement, we can convert it to an expression. So this is called an expression method body. So let's rerun a test to show that nothing has changed. And there is one final thing that we can do, and that is that this new string is also optional because, well, the return value of the function is a string. So obviously, if the only thing that we're returning is this value, it must be a new string. So we can actually get rid of that one too. So let's run it again. It still all works. And this is our final form. So we now have quite a functional version of our code. There are no manual for loops. There are no if statements. There are no return statements. There aren't even that many curly braces. There's just a couple for the class and for the switch statement themselves, but the methods don't have them. So this is a very functional way, and it shows you that you can use C# in a wide variety of ways with different paradigms, but this is definitely a very functional way, and I would say still idiomatic C#. So I hope you enjoyed that. Let's look at some of the resources that you can use to learn C#. First of all, you can learn C# on Exercism. The C# track on Exercism has more than 160 exercises, but more importantly, it has learning mode, which means that if you go to the learning mode page, you'll see a graph of all the different concepts in C#, and if you follow this, you'll get introduced to the language step by step, and in the end, you'll know most of the C# concepts and you know them well. So this is a great way to get up to speed with your C# knowledge. There is, of course, also official documentation. So this is the official documentation page, and it has basically everything that you ever want to know about C#. So you have language introductions, you have listings of all the different concepts, you have samples, tutorials, you name it. Basically everything that you ever need, you can find here. Then there is, if you like videos, there's a C# for beginners playlist. It contains 19 videos and installed by Scott Hanselman and David Fowler, to people very well known for their C# prowess. And they guide you through basically the very first steps, so your first program, and then you do more later.
No, thank you.
Branching, etc.
We are done with tutorials.
And then
no, thank you. No, thank you.
If you have questions about that question, there's a separate playlist called .NET for Beginners.
Okay, this actually looks interesting.
And they go over the basics of what .NET is and why should you care about .NET if you are a C# developer.
Is this useful?
Really so I would highly recommend these two YouTube playlists to
what do you think, Marcel?
The basics of C# and .NET. And with that, we've reached the end of this video. I hope you've enjoyed this introduction to C# and that you're now keen on trying out C# yourselves. If you do, let me know in the comments what you think. And until next time, bye.
Cool. Yeah. Okay. So I think we're gonna skip the tutorial hell. Let's actually take a 5-minute break. Let's do that. And then after the 5-minute break, I'll also put on some delicious hot water. My kettle is actually empty. You can see my beautiful burned kettle is empty. Need to fill it up. And then we'll get to finally some C#. And we're going to build something. I don't know what we're going to build. Do you know? If you have any ideas, drop them in the chat. Let's build something. Let's make it beautiful using .NET. So 5-minute break. I'll see if I can get the counter or something downtime. Made some green tea before I joined. Oh, nice. Oh, green tea would be awesome right now. I wish I had some green tea. Let me see if I can find... be right back. 5-minute break. Scroll across bottom. I added a banner. Hopefully it works. I don't have any other way to... Yeah, I'll add some music for also, if I can figure that out. Hopefully it's not too loud. Let's go. I'll use a stopwatch, I think. Okay, so hopefully the mic works. Let's lower this music a little bit lower. So the tea is still cooking in the background, or not the tea, the hot water. It's not ready yet. So does anyone in the chat have an idea? And if you don't have an idea, that's fine. If you have a problem, tell us about your problem. Hopefully a problem that can be solved by software. Because now, let's actually put on a timer. We're going to try to build something useful in 1 hour. Or maybe less than an hour. Let's see if we can do it. I think we can do it. Do you think we can do it? So, what is the tool we're going to be using? .NET. Free. Open source. I'm actually surprised that it's open source. I was expecting it not to be, so I'm happy it is open source. It's a cross-platform framework for building modern apps and powerful cloud services. Is this APIs or? It says microservices here. It says cloud. It looks like you can build everything. Game development, front end. Can we build a CLI tool with this? Backend APIs. Wow, it seems huge. I think I saw a car here. I have problems, but they can't be solved by software. It's me lacking design skills. Let's see. Yeah. So we're not going to be learning it. We're going to use it. That's what we want to do. Okay. So I'll try to clean up some of my windows and then share the desktop. Hopefully I don't leak something live on Twitch, YouTube, wherever we're streaming. I think we're streaming on 2 platforms right now. So let me try to share the right thing. I'll try. Hopefully it works. Stop screen share. Present. Share screen. Share screen. Window. Doesn't work. If I leave full screen, can I share a window? Oh yeah, I can. Okay, so Marcel, you have to help us out here. It's me, YBH. It's kind of limited to CLI or web. What does a YBH mean? I'm starting to feel like a grandpa here. To be honest, okay. If you want pain, you're gonna attempt the desktop app with Avalonia UI. Of course we want pain. That's the best way to learn. But before we start using external framework, let's try with just the regular pain, right? So I'm not able to share a window. I'm still trying to learn this stuff here. MVVM pane, model view something. Model view model. What does that MVVM mean? I'll share the entire screen. This the downside of sharing the entire screen is I can't see the chat, so I'll try to pull up the chat here on my second on my phone. I mean, I'll mute the audio so it doesn't go like crazy. Can you see the Visual Studio, Marcel? Model view model. Okay. Thanks. I guess. We got the chat here on the side, and I think I'll pull up the Twitch chat here on another, so people don't feel left out. I've gotten complaints that I don't read the chat enough. I will read the chat. Yes. So here's the Visual Studio. You see it? Awesome. I'll click New. You can see I've tried creating a console application using the F# language because I got too curious. So we'll hit the app. Then we see lots of template. What is ASP.NET Core? Worker service. What does this stuff mean? Web application looks like what we want. I'm waiting for your explanation, Miyazaki. I see there was a follow that I didn't mention. Thank you for the follow, Willy Buck. We are on Twitch, and then it's like so different. So I don't see the stream alerts and stuff like we used to back in the old days with OBS. Kind of like Django, okay? Yeah, we're spending a lot of time just figuring out what... It has Angular. Let's just pick this, .NET 7. No authentication, we don't want that. Do not use top-level statements. No, we don't care about that. Stickies, let's call it stickies. So I click the play button. I wonder what that does. It looks like it's building something. Install and trust, okay? It's going to install a certificate for HTTPS. Now it's asking me for password. What is this stuff? This is ridiculous. I just want to start something. I don't know what it is. It looks like it's going to start Safari. Whoops. I don't want to use my personal... Let me use the stream tab. I've been experimenting with Stable Diffusion, the default weather app. Let me close the Stable Diffusion stuff. I don't know what it's going to show. Okay, so now we have a split view here. Left-hand side is Visual Studio. Right-hand side is Safari. So connected services, dependencies, ASP.NET Core. Okay, so that's probably part of the web app. CSS HTML, what is that? Is this some kind of markup? Been experimenting with Stable Diffusion. Me too, but AMD GPUs are kind of bad for that. This looks like a templating language. Where is this running? Well, what's the default port for HTML templates? Yeah, thanks, Marcel. What's the default port it's running on? It's add Razor pages. Is it using Razor? Check out the console output. How do I see the console output? This is the call stack. What is the console here? Package console, is that it? Is it not supposed to be the same? There, localhost something. 5001. Of course. Okay, something is running. Stick is home privacy. Okay. Okay, let's try something. We want to go to Unsplash and we want to find the image. Let's take this image. Does it have a terminal somewhere? Open terminal. Terminal. Show terminal window. Most important thing we need. Oh, now it closed it down. I really like the 80s music in the background. It's turning out to be very nice. It is there, but... Oh, there it is. Terminal. Okay. LS. Okay, good. So it looks like there is WW template. So we'll move the downloads. What was this called? Yes, allow it to access the downloads. Unsplash. And let's create a new folder, I guess, to just make it clean. Assets, I guess we can call it. Okay, let's try to see if we can make a change here. Welcome, blah, blah. Text center. This is one thing I'm not sure about. Is it just going to be assets and then just like this? That didn't work. Just add this, and then actually, let's do something crazy. Just to see if this works. I'm not convinced it works. So we'll add a border, 3 pixels solid blue. Not double, but blue, come on. No auto completion. There. Okay, this works, good. Do we have a body somewhere? Okay, so there's a layout. Let's add it to the body. So already a few minutes in, we're trying to debug this thing. And let's try using the direct URL just to see if there's nothing messed up with oops, close. Copy image address. Okay, so that should work, right? Render body is where the other stuff will be injected. Aha, interesting. So if I command click, it opens something I don't understand. Assembly browser, okay. But we have the class background image. Let's remove this debug stuff. We know the markup, like the styling is being applied on the markup. So let's add a background red. Why isn't it applying the class? Because I'm not quite sure what the URL is, but it should still apply the background red. Okay, let's try going to the URL. Okay, so the image is there, right? Assets is Am I missing something? It could be something else is overriding it. It is already there. Could it be the path? Yeah, it's the path. So we need a slash beforehand. No, that didn't work. Is it doing something? Could be it's not specific enough. Whatever. Let's look up something. Let's just add center, background URL, center. No. It kind of feels stretched, doesn't it? Let's try this. There, look at that. That looks nicer, yeah. Okay, let's start changing up stuff. So there's a privacy page. Where is? Yeah, it should be here. So what does the C stand for? C. View data. So is this like? Is this being server-side rendered? All data is stored on the client. There. Okay, so now I changed the text. Nothing changed here. That's weird. CS, C#. Okay, I see. Yeah, I'm asking the silly questions, Marcel. But do I need to restart this thing in order for it to work? Like, I don't understand why is it not changing the markup? I'll try restarting. See what happens. Seems it has to rebuild. It would be nice with some live module read, like Homar, out module reloading. Oh, the tea is cooking. I'll be back. Okay, so this is not actually tea. It's I don't know what to call this, but it's like soda drink mixed with the hot water, just to get some taste into it. We'll get back to the hot water soon. There's a CLI flag you can use that triggers rebuilds when things change. Okay. I don't even see the CLI here. Xamarin. That I've actually used before. When I was trying out some object detection workshop I attended. Let's see. Project. Active configuration. Maybe we can... No, okay, that's not. Properties, maybe? I don't think it's further down. It must be here. Run configuration. Add. What did Marcel write? CLI flag. Okay, X. Let's call this X. Does that mean X? Okay. No idea what this means. Just the play button there. View import. Model show request ID. Where does that come from? Let's just try to write some random endpoint. Okay, then we get a blank page. Okay. Yeah, there's a lot here I don't understand. Well, what's this stuff here, Marcel, with the brackets here? Is that some kind of annotation thing? Welcome. There is some JavaScript here. This is interesting. If I pick the first part, it opens this file. And then if I click below it, it seems to be opening some other file. Yes, no idea what it does. But let's actually look at this. Here's the project we created, right? If we look at the tree structure of the project, yeah, it's actually much bigger than it looks like in the IDE. So it generates a lot of files. It even uses jQuery here. It uses Bootstrap. So these are the defaults, I guess, in C#. And I mean .NET. But I was curious about these files here. Error. Okay, so they are actually individual files in the file system, but they're being grouped like this inside of Visual Studio. Then I see, okay. That's actually nice grouping them like this. Angular, when working in VS Code with Angular, it's very, yeah, annoying with the navigation back and forth between the files. But let's clean this up. Okay, so welcome. We'll drop this stuff here. We'll create a button. Add sticky. Let's call it that. So we're creating a small app to create stickies. This is not going to update the markup. We're going to have to recompile. Oh. This is not nice, Marcel. This is getting very annoying. For a single change like this, I just have to rebuild. Oh, that was fast, actually. Now it went faster. Okay, so we have a button. Let's get it back here. This is not really, it doesn't feel like, can we do this in C# somehow? Because writing this in HTML is like, then it would just be regular, it would be regular development for the web. Let's see if we can get .NET here. Do I have it? No. .NET. Nope. I think I downloaded the .NET documentation here. Just launch it via the terminal. Yeah, sure, we can do that. I just need to know how to do that first. So let's see if we can stop it first. Is there a stop button here? Okay, so this is the stop button. How do we run this? I'll close this down. It has to be here somewhere. No. I think I have to search that on the web. Run .NET project from command line on macOS. In the dir with the SLN file. Yeah, I can get that up, but is there a command that I don't know of? .NET run. Oh, that's easy. That's very easy to remember. Why isn't this working? It's supposed to work, right? I'm missing something. Yeah, it looks like I should just be able to run .NET Run. Go one directory deeper. Aha, there it works. Okay, so it's looking for the .cs proj file. Okay, so this is how we run it. I'm just gonna verify it works. What? Is it using a different port? It looks like it's using a different port. '51 01. This doesn't seem to be working. Oh, now it's working. Okay. So what was the... Yeah, I probably messed up the URL. I was missing the HTTP prefix. No. Yeah, some typo, something. It works. Thanks. And the banner thing is still on. What do you mean the banner thing? Oh, the Be Right Back banner. Oh. Well, thanks, Marcel. I obviously am still not used to streaming again. So we have a button there, but I wanted to actually see if we could get .NET Watch. Ooh, this looks nice. Okay, now I'm curious. Yes, this is what we wanted. Thanks. Now it's actually there. But is this the right way to do it with the .NET framework? Is it not better to... Or is there some way to write this in C#? You could try the Razor syntax, but it's a lot cleaner like this. Add button ID, let's call it that. We'll try this once, and then we can try the Razor syntax afterwards. I want to see how good this tool is, because I heard, like, from the previous video we watched, they were saying so much good stuff about Visual Studio tooling. What do you think? Is it really that good as it's being advertised as? Is it better than the IntelliJ tools? Good. Now we have something. I prefer VS over the IntelliJ tools, especially for Windows development. How about the refactoring? Is it powerful for refactoring? I'm trying to clean up the tabs here so we can get back to... Okay. This close. Oh, I don't like this auto completion. It's not working as I expected. I'd still use VS with JetBrains, with the JetBrains ReSharper extension. Okay. I haven't really tried installing extensions here. I'm still getting used to it, but it would be nice to try out extensions. Is it free, the ReSharper thing, or do you have to pay? Not new documents. Create element, div. Is it append or is it append child? Sticky. Let's try this. And then we need to check the payload. Let's see, or I mean the body. You have to pay for it. How much does it cost? Okay, here's our new div. Click add. It appends something. Let's add a class to this. Sticky dot class name equals sticky item. And let's go to the style and add the background. Yellow, and then let's just add some more width. 320 pixels. No, that's too much. 128. Height, same, 128 pixels. Okay, let's see what happens. Why isn't 1390 euro per month? What? Oh, I forgot to save. Oh. There. Now we have stickies. Let's fix this. What? Why didn't that work? No, that can't be. Didn't I set it? Stickies list display. Didn't I just set it to flex? Display flex, grid wrap. This is gap on run. This is weird. I get what's going on. This is an ID. Thanks. By the way, have you ever implemented the A star pathfinding algorithm? No, but I've actually watched people implement it on YouTube. Let's we still have a bunch of things to fix, but we're supposed to learn C#, but we're ending up writing CSS and HTML and JavaScript. That's what it always gets back to, the open web. Let's add some margin here. I just want to, let's try tree run. I still think there's something off here. Let's see, this is the main. Oops. Align items. Width. Oh, it's the width. That's what. Okay. Participated in a coding contest last month. Failed implementing it in time, so I couldn't get past level. Which coding contest, if you can share? Sounds fun. I don't like how the layout is jumping. So let's change the body to... There, this looks much nicer. Okay. And I don't like the header. Participated in a coding contest. Oh, that's the previous message. Sorry, I thought you wrote something new. Let's see. Where's the... Okay, now I'm not going to search. I'm going to try to navigate using the file structure. Okay, so we have a layout, which is rendering some body. This is just validation scripts, partial. Development mode. This is like an error thing. It has to be the layout that's loading in this stuff, right? This is the top part. No, okay, I was wrong. What did I just remove then? No, I forgot to save. I'm right. No, it's still there. Practice tasks are here. Are you sharing a link or? Did you get the error when you posted? I can fix that, I think. But nav, where's nav? I can't find it. Let me search. No, it says there is no more nav. Let's delete all of this stuff. We'll keep our CSS script. Site. We'll remove this. We'll delete all of the libraries. Let's do that. Bye. Let's see if it complains now. No errors, but I posted 2 links. I don't see any links. Let me check YouTube, the channel manager. It could be that it just blocked. I don't want to go live. I'm already live. Let's check out this one. No, I don't see anything there. Nope. You can send. I can't show that here. Where else could you send it? Because I'm sharing my screen, so it's kind of difficult. I could switch between, but oh, now the styling disappeared. So that's cool. Okay. Let's remove these 2. I miss Vim. Let's see if we can find Bootstrap. Also, I've removed all of the references, but let's go through all the files. So this seems like it's the Bootstrap process, right? Starting up your app. This seems like a configuration file. Favicon. Oh, we don't need that. What is this yellow thing? Oh, this is a menu test. Launch settings. If I delete the privacy file, will we get the error? Let's see. No. Valid. I think I'll delete this too. Do you see anything, Marcel? I can't figure out what's going on. Because I can try stopping it, maybe. Maybe it's just too slow. Unable to... Oh, this is interesting. So it couldn't... we didn't see this message. So it was trying to hot reload, but it just couldn't. Okay, let's hit always. So there was an issue there. We just didn't see it. Okay, now it's getting better. Where is the add button being added? Must be in the index, right? Something adding the white background, maybe? White. I think we just have to add, okay, this one, transparent. No, it looks like it's something, could it be this container thing? Okay. No, there's something else. Okay, there's some margin being applied. Yeah, that's it. It's this margin here. Nice, hot reloading works. But it's doing something as soon as we add. What's it doing? It's probably applying some margin again. We have the, let's try this to height, width. No, that didn't really help. Let me try something here. Yeah, I don't like that. Let's remove that. I think we'll remove this too. How are we on time? We're running out of time soon for this part. Let's do one more thing so this actually becomes useful, and I don't know, I have to publish it on GitHub, I guess. What's missing? We can't edit them, so let's do a quick change to them. I think we can just go ahead and set the content editable to true. That should work. So let's try that. Is it here? No, it is sticky. I have to look this up. Yeah, it's content editable. It works, and actually it will, even if we copy text, it should preserve the style, right? So if we copy this, and I think we should be able to copy images as well. Nice. It's working. Okay, so it's not respecting the sizing, I guess, but that's some funky effect. Okay, cool. So that's what we managed to do on this project. It was fun playing around with it, but there's still a lot of stuff I don't understand more. So we actually didn't get to write that much C#. It was more, let's see. Yeah, so let's actually push this out to GitHub. If anybody wants to improve it or whatever. Playing around. I think I can create a project from the GitHub CLI. GitHub project. Let's see. Let me just check. The stream seems to be working. Can somebody just in the chat write something? It seems to be hanging on my phone. Something. Thanks, Marcel. Did it create it now? Oh no. Project and repository is not the same. Repository. Repository create. I'll just write repo, it's shorter. No, I want to use a different name. Stickies.net. Stickies.net. And actually, we should add some attribution to the image we added before we forget that. Oops, my timer just went off. Sticky is C#. Playing around. Credits, and then we'll add this for this person. Share info. How do I copy? Okay, I'll download it and then I can copy the text. There, I think now we're compliant. Okay, cool. So let's move on to the next topic. I'll stop sharing my screen just to change the tab. So we're going to look at something called Dapper. And this is something mobile shared. So let's check it out. Thank you for sharing the link, mobile. So is anyone here familiar with Dapper? Actually, let me make the volume lower. It's very loud. Or is it just me? Maybe it's just the headset. I'll make it lower in the headset. So it seems to be an API thing. PubSub. Are you familiar with it, Marcel? Never heard. Me neither. No, not before today. Obviously, it's used by some really big companies. You can see the only company missing here right now is Google and AWS, and then but the ones that are big here: Alibaba Cloud, Rakuten, Fujitsu. Some of the biggest companies in the world. Even NASA is using it. This must be some amazing tech. Let's pause the music and then check out this advertisement here.
As a developer, you're asked to create resilient, scalable, distributed applications as microservices. But you face the same challenges over and over again. Challenges such as recovering state after failures, managing secrets, or discovering and securely calling other microservices. What if there was a solution that allowed you to focus only on building your application and not solving these distributed system challenges? That's where Dapper comes in, the Distributed Application Runtime. It's an event-driven, portable runtime for easily building microservices on cloud or edge. Dapper meets you where you are today. You can use Dapper with any language, on any development framework, and run anywhere. At the heart of Dapper are building blocks that encapsulate industry best practices and simplify the challenges faced when building microservices. Through building blocks such as service-to-service invocation, state management, or PubSub messaging, Dapper provides consistent APIs, abstracting away the implementation details and keeping your code simple and portable. You can use Dapper with your existing applications, starting with a single building block and incrementally adding more when needed. Let's say you're building an app that requires you to store state. Using the simple state management API, you can quickly create long-running...
This sounds like a distributed key value store, or am I missing something?
Resilient stateful services. Dapper does the heavy lifting for you. Your code remains simple and agnostic to any specific store implementation, and you can easily swap out what's under the hood without changing your code. And just to make life a little bit easier, Dapr provides extensive security and observability by default, encrypting requests between services and integrating with standards such as OpenTelemetry for tracing, metrics, and logs that can be visualized by any monitoring tool. So, how does it work? Dapr runs alongside your application as a sidecar, whether on your local dev box, on an edge device, or in the cloud. When hosting your application on Kubernetes, Dapr runs as another container in your application's pods, and when your application scales, Dapr scales with it. Dapr is an open source project with a growing worldwide community of developers working together. Want to learn more? Simply get started at dapr.io.
Are we already on your website? Let's close that down. Okay, this is 52 minutes. We're not watching the whole thing.
Hi, my name is Kendall Roden. I am a technical product manager at Diagrid, and today's session is going to be all about Dapr, or the distributed application runtime. And because building concerns, a key for the key value pair.
Oh, nice. Here we finally have some code. So it's using something called Cloud Events. Actually, I learned about this recently. So it makes a post to order something, saves the state asynchronously, so the client is not waiting on this. The client will receive the okay. But this is actually interesting. Do you see here? This could fail.
This case will be.
This could fail. This right here could fail, but the client would not know, right? No, actually not. No, I don't understand this. No, okay, so the client could know. Actually, wait, Marcel. This is actually very interesting. So the client would make a post, right? And then it would set up the logging in the client, and then it would do this, right? It would hit this asynchronously, and then it would reply to the client, right? So when this finishes, pub would happen, right? And if there's a problem, it would also result in another message. So yeah, even though you're not handling this synchronously, you could handle it by subscribing to the various messages. Let's get some music back in the background. So first step is to install the Dapr thing. Can do that. So I'm running the CLI thing in the background. It's now asking me for the password, and it got installed. Okay. So it looks like it's using Docker, right? Let me let me share the screen. We'll just run it on the Sticky project. Dapr init, right? Okay, so I'm obviously not running Docker, so I'll launch Docker. I only run Docker when I need to. I haven't really been using it that much since 2Onky.net moved away from using Docker. Why don't you trust managers, Marcel? Let's try running init again. Okay, so it looks like it's pulling in Docker images. Oh, you guys probably can't see because my head is probably in the way. Let me see if I can fix that. Now I have to figure out something else. Not like that. Not like this. Okay, now it's finished and I'm showing it. But where is it? Okay, so init Dapper version. I think it's also running containers, right? Yeah, so it spinned up a bunch of containers. It's running. Okay. This really looks like a key value store. And then we can curl the state, right? Bruce Wayne. What? I was expecting to see something here. Oh, okay. Yeah, it has a specific syntax. Okay, let's see. No, that still didn't. Yeah, it might be I missed a step in the configuration here. So here are some use cases, right? Basic pub sub. So this would be like a command type thing where you just need to make a query command, get a response synchronously. And this is the key value sorting. This here sounds like a mapping. Given this input, map to that event, and so on. Let's take a look at this crypto thing here. So they show Go examples. Now we know why mobile likes this stuff. It would be nice to just look at the examples just to see how they're doing it. So in this example, you have Dapper running, Redis cache, Dapper, and then the thing that processes it. So let's look at the .NET example. So this is just configuration. But this really does not look like... Does this look like C#, Marcel? Maybe this console.write line is the only thing I could... This definitely does not look like C#. This is Python. A bit, yes. I think they're mixing in Python here with the examples. Okay, next example, service invocation. We have Dapper stuff, TLS, Dapper order process, and then a name resolution there. DNS. It could be something else. This looks like Python. This looks like their own syntax thing. And here's the key value store. Something processing, Dapper, and then Redis. I don't really see what they're doing here that's useful. Why wouldn't you just use Redis directly? And in this case, it's talking to... You have a cron job, for example, runs a batch job, output Postgres. Python again. Here is acting like a gateway between those two. Okay. Nice. They have an active open source community. I think based on just the one thing I'm seeing there, but we can check out their GitHub. Okay, so maybe you get better performance. Maybe that's the thing with Dapper, that it has some certain performance characteristics. Or maybe it makes it vendor agnostic, or that you don't need to... Yeah, so you can ignore which language it's written in, but still you're just using somebody else's... You will be locked into Dapper, I guess, right? Because in all of the examples we looked at, Dapper is basically the middle layer, right? Oops. I use Dapper. So yeah, they're basically handling these common problems, but you could solve those with other things. Let's look at these service to service. Okay, so it's defined something. Interesting. This also looks like pi. Yeah, it says pi there. Yeah, I think we got through all of the examples. let's move on to. I think I'll bring back the camera. Let's see. And I think I'll stop sharing my screen and use the tabs again. If I can figure it out. Let's see. So let's check out the other link that Marcel sent. That was the Avalon UI. Or Avalonia UI. Am I saying it correctly? Oh, Schneider, JetBrains, Unity. GitHub even is using it. Let's get started. Installation. I think this should work in my computer because we already have .NET installed, right? The following template will be installed. So it looks like it worked. Oh, it has a Visual Studio extension. Network, or do I need to do something? I don't know how to import extensions in Visual Studio Code. I did a task tracker with it. Yeah, I remember. That was pretty cool. You also streamed it, didn't you? Okay, I tried opening the plugin thing. Import plugin. Enforces the MVVM too much, in my opinion. You can check it out, try it out, but I'm not able to install it. So let me try. Actually, I've never tried JetBrains Rider before. So let's download that. Or do I have the toolbox? I think I might have the toolbox somewhere. Wow, JetBrains really has a lot of products now. There, I found it, Rider. Let's take a look at the samples. So here is the MVVM you were talking about. Basic MVVM example. I have to turn on the heat here. It's getting a little bit cool. This reminds me of C++ when I see the namespace stuff. This question mark, does that mean that it's an optional? That it can be something or nothing? Yeah, it looks like it's a null name, or yeah, nullable. Let's see how far Rider got. Yeah, I got Rider down. So let's actually download this stuff. Try to run them in Rider. So I'll share the whole screen. I think maybe I should close down this. So it's not problematic. I have more than enough RAM, but why is it? Oh, there's Rider. Oops. Oh, it's asking where to import. Okay, I'll just say Visual Studio for Mac. Oh, and I see Deavim. I don't think we need anything else. Azure Toolkit. By the way, Marcel, have you tried using Azure? I've had to create an Azure account, or I think I have an Azure account, I'm not sure. I don't need it, but I had to do it for work. Oh, I think I closed it. Rider. Can I get a trial? Will it allow me to get the trial? Start a trial. Okay, continue. What happened? Did it crash? No, it's restarted. Trying to stay as far away from Microsoft as possible. But are you running Linux on your main machine right now, or at work? I mean, or do you have to run Windows? I remember you said you're using PowerShell. It seems like you're forced to use it every day. If I understood. I'm getting tired, but let's try this basic MVM. So it looked like it was the input thing. I do use Linux. Do you mean VSL, or do you actually have Linux installed on your machine? But the servers run Windows. Aha, right. I see. But can you install PowerShell on Linux? Like, I mean, if you have some code you need to just see if it works locally. NixOS. Nice. I haven't gotten around to trying it yet. So here we have the simple view model. Here's the reactive UI. What's the difference between these two? They look essentially the same. Let's look at the code. Sorry, let me fix the thing here. There. You can, it's cursed. I have a Windows VM for apps that don't run on Linux and to test stuff. Ah, interesting. Which version are you running? Configure. Okay, save. Okay, so it's importing the Avalonia stuff using the system. I guess this is shipped with either C# or actually just .NET. I'm not sure. Okay, and stuff might break. So here's the expression bodied thing. I don't remember. It's an arrow function. That's a yeah. So main runs build Avalonia app. Start with classic desktop lifetime args. Use platform detect log to trace. Use reactive UI. There's a README here. Using ASCII doc. Man, this project feels very old. There's nothing wrong with ASCII doc, but it's been a while since I've seen ASCII doc. Okay, here's short tutorial on MVVM. I thought we were finished with the tutorials, but obviously not. We'll use the MVVM pattern in this sample. Model view model describes the software pattern, blah blah. So the model will store and handle your data. Doesn't know anything about your view or view model. The view can be taught as the user interface and will interact with your view model. Okay. The view model can be seen as a mediator between the view and the model. It will know about the model and is known by the view, but it doesn't know anything about the view. It can transform and convert the data provided by the model. Okay. So what ID is this? This is Rider. We just installed it. I've never used it before personally. So let's drop the link in the chat. Rider. So I don't know if it's good for C# development. So yeah. But usually, in my opinion, the IntelliJ tools are really good. But I heard a lot of good stuff from developers. Like many different people, Visual Studio tools are really good. So it might be better with the Visual Studio tools. It might be better with Rider. I don't know. But this here sounds really like MVC, right? You have the model, you have the view, and then you have the controller, right? This part here sounds like that. But what's the last M? Okay, that's the model again. I don't really understand this. How is this different? I think we need to use artificial intelligence here, because obviously I don't understand it. With Avalonia, I can't use one anyways. Okay, let's try to ask. Let's see. So I was gonna try to use that's where can we find this? Chat OpenAI something. Okay, so I'll try to share the screen. Button is defined in the view and click event is and the logic is in the model. I think I have to stop sharing something. What is the difference between MVC and MVVM? Use code examples from iOS, Objective-C, just to make this a little bit more interesting. And I don't know how to say this. What was the name again? Was it Avalonia? Avalonia. C#. Okay. No, you can use MVC. That's why I picked the example. You can use it for desktop apps too. Okay, now it's working hard here. Okay, so according to our friend generative something, So both are patterns to organize code and separate concerns. They try to achieve separation of concerns, but they have different ways of doing it, okay? With the MVC, this is obvious. Model it represents the data and business logic of the client, of the application. View represents the UI and presentation stuff, right? And then this is the control is the intermediary between the two. Input, for example, updating the model and refreshing the view. So here we have an object, simple, a person, has a name, has an age, and then here we have view to present the labels, right? And then view control has a person and a person view, and it will configure the view. So this is the Avalonia stuff. Model, same as here. View represents the user interface. This looks different. No, okay, it's the same. View model. This sounds like the controller, right? But do you agree, disagree, Marcel? It sounds the same, so I'm not sure what's the difference really. They're basically the same, okay? So when would you use one over the other? So if you want it simple, you'd use MVC. But if you have more data binding, okay. There we got our answer. So let's actually change back to the ID. So this we looked at earlier. This XML file, what is that? Is that some configuration that's specific to Avalonia? And what is a public partial class? What is that? What does that mean? So many questions here. This looks like... is this some kind of... let's see if we can... WPF has that too. Okay. Here's the view model base. It's using something called a reactive object. Okay, I think we're missing something. Let's check if we can download a plugin. Yeah, right. The main window XML thing is to your view. Okay, or UI, Avalonia. There, we're missing the plugin. Let's add this. Because that's supposed to render the AXML thing, right? This really reminds me of Android. Because Android has a lot of XML stuff for the UI. Okay, let's click this now. What happens if we preview? Oh, now it's loading a preview. So this is from the plugin. Solution loaded with 3 errors. What does that mean? What does that mean? Net SDK. What is Appium? Okay, so it uses both NUnit and XUnit. Am I running a .NET version which is too new for this project? I'm seeing some red stuff here. And I think these people have missed. This is not correct. I'm tempted to fix this. Should we just fix this and open up a pull request? Oh, where do we have it? Well, let's fix it. Why is it so slow? Is forking really that slow? I'm curious how this is gonna look like in Vim. It looks like I'm also getting an error here. Have you seen these errors before, Marcel? I thought I could fix it easily, but I'm not sure if it's... Maybe I can just fix it from here. I just want to run it. Does it work? It looks like it worked. Okay, nothing is broken. Let's see if we can get the preview again. Nice, now the preview works. So tab control must be something Avalonia is exposing. Ooh. That was fast. I'm surprised it went that fast. I was expecting there to be a build step or something, but so it's just reading the XML file then. Ooh, nice. The plugin is very fast. So what's the units? Doesn't look like anything happened there. Oh, it's a text, but maybe it doesn't have a default. It looks very easy to edit. How many stars does he have on GitHub? 20,000 stars. Yeah, so I think we're gonna start wrapping up. It's getting late. So I had fun with the C# stuff. It's still very new. I'm not familiar with the syntax, so we didn't actually build anything useful, but we could try that again in a future stream. Maybe I could try reading up a little bit beforehand and then experimenting. Or most likely the next stream is on Friday. I think what we're gonna do then is continue where we left off on toonki.net on the simple page thing. So hopefully Alp has time and he will join. He has some good ideas on making the page simpler. We have implemented the API. It turned out to be a little bit more challenging implementing the form changes. So yeah. And I don't know if anybody else has any fun ideas we could try out. That would be fun. So I don't know, Marcel or Mobile, or maybe Guillem. If you have anything, feel free to suggest. I think the comment of the day was this one, or a chat message of the day. I'll leave this one up for a few minutes. I was so surprised about the long names. When we were looking at the .NET documentation earlier. And actually, we didn't get to NuGet and Mono. There was still a lot of stuff that we didn't get to. So just look at PowerShell. Yeah, we could do that, but I'm not sure. Can I run PowerShell on other platforms, or do I need to run a VM? It's definitely a pain. Yeah, actually, let's. Let's. Do you have a link or something we could check out? Let's check out the PowerShell documentation just for fun. Yes, you can on Linux at least. I didn't know that. Cool. Yeah, I forgot there's no link posting. I have to fix that. Utility modules, let's look at them. What does this mean? Crescendo? Parameter info. Script analyzer. This was actually short. Plotty PS. What is that? Create markdown content from PowerShell module. Seems huge, like all of the stuff you can do there. Plotty PS does a poor job converting the about MD files to plain text. You must use every Very simple markdown. It sounds like a painful tool to use. Oh, this seems to be Microsoft Learning. I don't know how we ended up there. But yeah, so I think that's it for now. Thanks for hanging out, everyone. And if nothing else changes, I think most likely the next stream is on Friday. And then we're back to 2Anki.net or maybe PowerShell. Get help preview, just look at that. I think I missed it. Wait. Now I have to see it. Where? I was gonna wrap up, but I have to see it. I really want to see the long ass names. Get help? Where? I think I ended up on the wrong place, right? Here. Dev session configuration file. Did you mean these ones? We were in the gallery. Yeah. So you actually have to type out this stuff. Looks like Anki could be useful here for the memorization. What the hell does this mean? Yeah, I can sit here and decode this stuff all night long. I think it's time to wrap up. Okay, see you next stream. Bye.